This right here, it's been around for hundreds of years, centuries of people protecting what they had, defending what they want, and also making sure that they're keeping their family safe. Well, there's never more an important time to buy something like this. We're going to discuss that today. We're going to hit on some hints on some things that you could do to make sure that you're stockpiling the way you should and how much you need, and also the rounds that I personally like to have myself. But also we're going to talk about a story that is pretty scary, and it's been very suppressed, and I think we need to talk about it. Let's jump into it. Today's video starts right now. Hey guys, welcome to The Max. Thank you so very much for being here today on this beautiful South Mississippian day. We hope that you're having a good day. I know that there's been a lot of bad storms going through Arkansas and Texas, so I pray for those families that went through that. And ultimately, I hope that you have a wonderful day. If you are new to the channel, go down here, press subscribe. I humbly ask that you give us a thumbs up, comment below, and share this message across this platform. We have been completely held down, and we need your support. So thank you so very much by just giving us a thumbs up and commenting. That means the world to me. Now, today we're going to talk about that right there. We're not only going to talk about that, we're going to talk about a story that has been developing that really has, it hasn't got the traction that it should, because I think that it kind of pushes against the narrative of safety. Let's talk about that story, and then also how it goes right back to the borders. It goes right back to the fact of our governors telling us we don't need this, when actually we do. It's a story that I want you to pay attention to. Now, this was something that was reported on Twitter, and then I think Fox News picked it up. I think there's a lot of other news sources now that's picking it up. I'm reading off Zero Hedge. It says, U.S. Special Forces operator kills undocumented Chechen outside his home in a very possible spy incident. 2 Chechens with no personal identification who were in the U.S. but in no national database, otherwise completely illegal, that likely invaded this nation through the southern border, were taking photos and possibly surveilling outside the home of an elite U.S. Special Forces colonel near Fort Liberty, which was Fort Bragg in North Carolina. Fox News reports that the colonel confronted the men, one of which was using a telephoto lens and taking photos of his children outside his home on the evening of May 3rd. That's the moment when the altercation broke out, with Special Forces operator shooting and killing one of the 2 men. Now, I'll be honest with you, they have kind of taken this story down. You hadn't heard it. It's May 3rd. Have you heard this story yet? Local sheriff says the caller indicated that the individual was observing, taking photographs of the property, and had become aggressive towards the resident outside the home. The deceased was found approximately 250 yards from the roadway along the power line of the residence. And there were several people commenting saying, this is why you must have the rights of owning these things, and also what allows them to shoot. 2 things here. We need to purchase these rounds, and I'll be honest with you, I'd look for brass rounds. Steel rounds can cause a lot of jams and a lot of different versions of pew-pews, but I would try to stick to brass as much as possible. I like going with the more common rounds because they're easier to find. 9 NATO rounds, 5.56, 2.23, even 7.62. All those are very good rounds. If you're looking hunting rounds, I like a 30-30 or a 308 because, again, they're very easily able to find. Now, if you have something that's a little bit different, that's okay. But remember, you need to be stockpiling those. There's no reason you should have less than 1,000 rounds for each piece of machinery. That sounds like a lot, but there's no reason in not buying this. This could be more important than money for sure, because money will go away. This will not. I always talk about precious metals, brass, projectiles, and then also having food and security. We have to have those things because of this situation right here. We have elected officials who are not allowing our border to be protected. And we have 2 men spying Special Forces home near a military compound, one of the most important in the United States. And remember last week I talked about the guys taking a white truck and trying to get through another Marine Corps hub in Langley, which was in Virginia, which is next to all our servers, next to all the stuff that we need. we're starting to see this more and more. What if all of a sudden, I'm gonna pitch something to you. Just like we saw with 10:7 in Israel. Just think, what if all of a sudden there was an activation clause? Meaning they said on this date, wherever you're at, when you come through the borders, because it was easy to pass, I want you to be activated. And I want you to go to the nearest city, the nearest town, the nearest military database, the nearest server hub, the nearest airport, and I want you to do what you do. How quick can chaos ensue? See, I think that's what's going to happen in America. I don't think you're going to see this one big monster attack somewhere. And you could, and I hope that I'm wrong on all these aspects. But I think you're going to see several smaller facets where this city hits, this airport hits, this military station hits, this hits. And I think it's going to come back to typical Americans being able to take care of their family and defend their homeland. Because our government is doing a terrible job at that. We have open borders, and your Republicans and Democrats are worried so much more about other people's flag instead of your own. There's a gentleman that shared, and it's actually like a meme account on Twitter, but it said, America, you better start buying these things right now. This Special Forces home was looked at, surveilled, and not only that, they were looking at their children. How serious is it? You know, I always heard somebody say, well, you can mess with me, but don't mess with my wife and my kids. That actually is an old cliche, but that is absolute truth. It's not about what's happening in the cities anymore. It's not about what's happening right on the border anymore. It's not about what's happening in these other countries. We've brought this now to ourselves to where, guess what? We better pay attention to what is going on, because this is your back door. This is not a very big monster metropolitan area. This is not New York. This is not Washington. This is not even Langley. This is North Carolina. And this guy, luckily he was trained to be able to handle the situation, but what if he wasn't? Was his family safe? Was he safe? So that's why I come back to you. You have to learn to buy these things. And you may want to start off by buying a few cases here and there, 50, 100 rounds. Start buying a little bit more. Start buying different versions of actual machine so you can learn how to operate it. It could be handheld, it could be a bigger one, it could be a hunting style. You need to be comfortable with it, because there comes a time when this will happen around us. And it may be in your back door and you don't even know it. I imagine this guy never knew it, because he's sitting in really a safe place, because he's surrounded by military and special forces, and he is the one they targeted. Over the years, special operations soldiers have seen an increase in strange interactions and suspicious surveillance of them, themselves, and their families. Some say it's foreign spy programs. The legal alien who was killed, 35-year-old, was working as a subcontractor in Utilities 1 at the time of that accident. So this is where I get mad. What does your politicians and big business say? We've got to have them. We need workers. We need people. We need people to hire. We need employees. This guy was hiring, but his main goal was not the hire. His main goal was not to work for this utilities company. His main goal was not to be used and get a paycheck and to seek, the safety of USA. He had a goal, and it was to surveil. And that is dangerous. And this article ends, and I thought it ended well. Why do we give the rights to foreign companies, foreign agencies, foreign people to spy on Americans? It's not safety. So you better start buying things like we talked about. You better start making sure that your house is equipped the best you can. I'm going to link a video below. It's a how to defend our home, and what we did when we built shutters, when we covered doors, when we had certain things to wear, when we talked about certain specific ammo, certain specific projectiles. It's important to make sure that you are taking care of your family. And check out, it's not about just having cash. We talk about cash a lot, but it's about precious metals. Yes, we talk about that a lot. But what about the food and security? Having the food, having the water you need, but then protecting it. Having the property, but protecting it. One more question, then we're going to end. If this was your home, and someone was outside with a very expensive camera, who couldn't speak English, who literally has no paperwork on him knowing who he was, what would you do? And if that answer is, I don't know, I don't have any way to protect me, you really need to get busy in learning, being well aware of your surroundings, but also learning how to utilize being defended. You utilize everything that you can to defend your home, your family, your children, because no one else is. Your kids and your family and your home, everything that you own is more important to you than it is anyone else. So now I challenge you. You are the one that's got to protect it.